Welcome to the study session where we are breaking down the BCBA 6th edition test content outline. Today we are diving into task B11, Operant and Respondent Extinction.
This is Domain B, Concepts and Principles, 14% of the exam. Extinction sounds simple, but the exam tests it in tricky ways. If you do not understand the difference between operant and respondent extinction, you will miss questions that look easy on the surface.
Let's start with operant extinction. Operant extinction means withholding the reinforcer that previously maintained a behavior. The behavior was operant, it was selected by its consequences. Remove those consequences, and over time the behavior decreases.
Here is the key nuance the exam loves. Extinction is not ignoring. If a behavior is maintained by automatic reinforcement, like self-stimulation, you cannot extinguish it by withholding social attention. The reinforcer is sensory, not social. Extinction must target the actual reinforcer, not what you assume the reinforcer is.
That is why functional analysis matters so much. You need to identify the function of the behavior before you can design an extinction procedure. This connects directly to task list items F.6 and G.2. Extinction without assessment is not behavior analytic practice.
And extinction comes with side effects the exam will test. First, the extinction burst, a temporary increase in rate, intensity, or variability of the behavior when reinforcement is first removed. Plan for it. Document it. Tell caregivers to expect it.
There is also spontaneous recovery. After behavior has decreased, it may reappear briefly without any reinforcement. That does not mean extinction failed. It is a normal phenomenon. The behavior typically drops off quickly again if extinction is maintained consistently.
Ethics alert here. BACB Code 2.15 says we must minimize risk. Running extinction on behavior that is dangerous, like self-injury or aggression, requires careful planning. You may need to combine extinction with differential reinforcement of an alternative behavior from the start.
Now respondent extinction. Respondent behavior is elicited by antecedents through classical conditioning. A neutral stimulus was paired with an unconditioned stimulus until it became a conditioned stimulus that elicits a conditioned response.
Respondent extinction means repeatedly presenting the conditioned stimulus without the unconditioned stimulus. Over time, the conditioned response weakens and disappears. Think of a child who was bitten by a dog and now fears all dogs. Gradual exposure to dogs without anything bad happening, that is respondent extinction.
The exam will ask you to distinguish between the two. The key difference is the mechanism. Operant extinction targets consequences, remove the reinforcer. Respondent extinction targets antecedents, break the pairing between the conditioned and unconditioned stimulus.
Here is a verbal behavior connection. Some emotional responses to verbal stimuli are respondent. A child who has a history of being corrected harshly may show anxiety when a teacher says their name. That is a conditioned emotional response. Respondent extinction can address it by repeatedly pairing the name with neutral or positive events.
Also remember that operant and respondent processes can interact. A learner may engage in escape behavior, operant, triggered by a conditioned fear response, respondent. You may need to address both the antecedent emotional response and the consequence-maintained escape behavior to be effective.
For the exam, when you see extinction in a scenario, ask two questions. First, what type of behavior is this, operant or respondent? Second, what is the reinforcer or the conditioned pairing that needs to be eliminated? Answer those two questions and you will identify the right procedure every time.
And always pair extinction with reinforcement of an alternative behavior whenever possible. Extinction alone produces behavior reduction, but it does not teach the learner what to do instead. That combination is best practice across the task list.
The behavioral signatures matter too. Operant extinction produces the extinction burst, spontaneous recovery, and resurgence. Respondent extinction produces gradual weakening of the conditioned response without those same side effects. Those differences tell you which process you are dealing with on an exam question.
Let's talk about resurgence specifically because it shows up on the exam more than people expect. Resurgence is when a previously extinguished behavior reappears when a currently reinforced behavior is placed on extinction. It is not the same as spontaneous recovery, and the exam will make you distinguish them.
Think of it this way. A child used to hit to get attention. You extinguish that and taught them to ask verbally. Then asking stops working one day, maybe a caregiver forgets to respond. Hitting comes back. That is resurgence. The old behavior resurfaces when the new one stops paying off. Plan for it in your behavior support plan.
Extinction is also a component of many differential reinforcement procedures. DRA with extinction, DRO with extinction, these combinations are more effective than reinforcement alone because you are both removing reinforcement for the target behavior and providing it for the alternative. Task List G.2 covers this directly.
And here is a practical note on implementation. Extinction only works when it is applied consistently across all people and settings. If one caregiver continues to reinforce the behavior while everyone else runs extinction, the behavior gets maintained on an intermittent schedule, which makes it even more resistant. Consistency is everything.
For more practice questions, visit www.bcbamockexam.com.
See ya.
Bye.